can I ask you to close your eyes and think of what a white Christmas means to you? Perhaps you wake up on Christmas morning, look out the window, and there's an expanse of white powder as far as the eye can see. The air is crisp and clear, and the sun is bright. You go outside and you crunch through the white powder. And you walk down a little ways, you roll up your trousers, and you dip your feet in the warm water. Bet you weren't expecting that, were you, Anton? Because actually I'm not talking about a white Christmas in Britain. I'm not talking about snow. Of course I'm talking about white Christmas in the Caribbean. And the white powder is the glorious, bright, white, fine sand of the beaches you get in Barbados. Now, as the temperature starts to go towards zero and it gets towards the shortest day of the year, it's quite natural for us to think about getting some winter sun. Barbados is a great place to go in the winter because it's not quite as hot as it is in the summer. It gets maybe as cold as 24 degrees Celsius, and it's not as humid. And yet, many British people that I speak to find it strange to be in a warm country at Christmas. Somehow it's not the same without mulled wine and woolly hats and German Christmas markets. But the good news is that we have our own traditions in the Caribbean, and it's really easy to get caught up in them. So I thought I'd take a few minutes this evening to tell you some of those traditions. Now, a lot of the things that we do at Christmas in the Caribbean, or in Barbados definitely, will be familiar to British people because we've got 300 years of shared history. We sing the same carols, we go to church on Christmas Eve. Santa Claus still visits all the boys and girls, even though there aren't any chimneys to shimmy down. And as I said, it gets a bit cooler, and it's the perfect temperature for a plant that we call the snow on the mountain to bloom in a cascade of white leaves and flowers, and it only does that around Christmas. Another plant which hides its beauty for most of the year is something that we call the Christmas candle plant. Around December, the golden yellow flowers pop out in long, sort of pod-like fashions which look like Christmas candles. And we've got poinsettias just like we have poinsettias in England. The Christmas festivities start on Christmas Eve with midnight mass, and even people who aren't necessarily regular churchgoers will go to church and light a candle. And if you're in Barbados and you get a chance to go to St. Michael's Cathedral in the capital of Barbados, Bridgetown, which is the biggest church in the island and the centre of the Anglican faith in the country. If you don't get a chance to go there, there's churches all around the country, all around the island. There's a parish church in every parish, and some of them have been around since the 17th, 18th centuries. On Christmas morning, thousands of Bajans of all walks of life and all ages head to Queen's Park in the centre of the capital for a morning of fun, food and festivities. The tradition of Christmas morning in Queen's Park with the Royal Barbados Police Band playing has been around for nearly a century. But it's not just about food and festivities. It's a chance for Bajans to promenade in their best outfits. And men, women and children will be dressed up in their finest dresses, suits, hats, canes, scarves, gloves, the kind of outfits you wouldn't normally expect to be wearing in warm weather. And all manner of colours, deep reds and flawless whites and bright purples. It really is a spectacle. If you get a chance to go, don't be put off by the fact that you might be the only one in flip-flops and shorts. But on Christmas Day, we mostly spend it indoors with family, as we do in Britain. And of course, the centre of the whole occasion is Christmas lunch. Or, in my family, it was normally inevitably Christmas dinner, because it didn't happen until around 6 o'clock. And we do eat turkey in the Caribbean, but the centrepiece of a good Christmas lunch is a ham, as big as you can afford it. And I have delicious memories of my mother baking and scoring and adorning the ham with fragrant cloves and glazing it with golden brown local sugar. Apart from ham, we like to eat baked pork. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Pork and ham, they're from the same animal. And you're right. And that animal is very popular around Christmas. In terms of side dishes, we've got our potatoes and carrots and Brussels and sprouts and those sorts of things. But we also have something called jug jug, which takes its heritage from Scotland and the Scottish influence on the colonial years. And it's basically pigeon peas and guinea corn and beef and pork again, cooked and then minced up into a puree and made into a kind of a pie. It's interesting, an acquired taste, you might say. The most popular drink around Christmas is sorrel, which you make from drying the bright red sorrel flowers and then boiling them in water. And it can be quite bitter. You need to temper it with quite a lot of sugar. So I would suggest that the first time you have sorrel, maybe mix it with a bit of champagne. It's Christmas after all. Another drink which is very popular is something that we call punch or creme, which is our version of eggnog, basically. Milk and eggs, rum, nutmeg, more rum, and a bit of Angostura bitters. You drink it over ice with a dash of nutmeg. It's very refreshing. After Christmas lunch or Christmas dinner, as we do here, we go to the lounge, gather around the TV, watch TV, spend the rest of the evening with family. The next day, there aren't any sales. Shops aren't open on Boxing Day. So there's no Boxing Day shows, there's no shopping. Thank goodness. We just go around to friends, or if you like, down to the racetrack for a day of racing, out in the sunshine, betting on your favorite horses. And then preparations start for the New Year's Eve parties, or as we like to call it in Barbados, All Year's Night. This is one of the biggest party nights of the year. It's so big that even the nightclubs book other venues to have other parties to cater for the demand. So the locals will go to these other parties and the tourists will go to the nightclubs. For me, it was the only time of year that I would wear a tuxedo. And it's a great party, not just because it's New Year's Eve and the champagne is flowing, but because you get a chance to see people that you might not have seen for the whole year. You might not think that's possible in a small society like Barbados, but it is. If you don't want to bet your whole night on one party, then go for an early dinner, and then go club hopping. Perhaps if you're on the south coast to St. Lawrence Gap, on the west coast to somewhere called 2nd Street. You're guaranteed to have champagne and fireworks at midnight. Party for a few more hours, and then head over to the east coast to watch the sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean. The virginal golden rays of the first New Year's sun caressing the dew-laden, rugged hills of the east coast. It's the perfect metaphor for the ambition and hope and resolutions that we have for the new year. So there you go. I know it may be strange to not spend your Christmas bundled up to the neck in woolly clothes and listening to see what the Christmas #1 is, but I can guarantee you, if you head out to Barbados for Christmas, you'll definitely enjoy it. Thank you very much.